Hey, how's everybody doing? This is the third video of the day. Happy Thursday, everybody. This is a video that's going to be about two things going on in the NFL. One is Clay Matthews pointing out that he doesn't believe Rodgers should have ever been put on IR because then that gives you a later timetable to be able to return. And the next is on the official deal that got done between the NFL and the players. We'll start with that, as yesterday Thomas and Reed pulled out of the coalition, which did anger Roger Goodell. But like commentators have been saying, and Stephen A. Smith has been saying, and Damian Woody, who's a former player, the NFL didn't really have to. It would have looked bad if they didn't, but they didn't have to. Like, the NFL is not a social justice, a organization that fights for all the means that this deal is giving to, but they chose to do it anyway. Obviously, part of it's for PR for the NFL to look good as a business, because as much as anything else, sports is a business, and we all understand that for the most part. And if you don't, then you gotta kind of have to understand that. But the big disconnect that a lot of people dislike Roger Goodell for is not having a good tie-in with the players, and how, like, in the old CBA, everyone thinks he asked for too much, and in his new deal, he might have asked for too much also, including myself. But this does show that he's at least trying to put a foot forward and have some connection closer with the players than he has had in the past. And that in itself is something that is really good. Over a 7-year period, the NFL will contribute a total of $89 million, and then some owners have, like Martha Ford of the Lions, have said they would give themselves separate from the deal already, and that will continue. So at the local level, owners will put up $250,000 annually and expect players to match that, so that would obviously total $500,000. And the $73 million in national funding has already been approved. The owners would have to approve the local level one in their March owners meetings, which everybody expects will be approved. And they will allocate $5 million, with their commitment growing annually and maxing out at $12 million per year. The owners will from 2021 through 2023 at the national level. So the deal is starting to make inroads into what the players wanted. Why the players are still divided is because they feel Jenkins, in a way, and Bolden haven't been speaking for them all as a whole. And Malcolm Jenkins did basically say he won't raise a fist during this week's anthem. It has presented a bigger and better platform, the NFL, by coming to this agreement. So at least they came to an agreement in some sense. And it's not like the NFL's job is to give to what the players fight for, but in today's day and age, they should help and they should contribute, and that's what they did do. And whether players think they're not giving enough to certain entities or not, they can then at the local level, like how Martha Ford's doing, the league would like players to go out and see who they want to give to at the local level and who's the most important. And then when the players match, those entities will get a lot of money. So that's my take on that today. I think it definitely looks better for the NFL than it did yesterday when the deal wasn't completely finalized. And they finally did something, and there's no quid pro quo in it. That's a big key. It's not that players have to stop protesting if they still believe the deal doesn't fight for everything they believe in. They can fight for that separately. They can give to that separately. They can work with the owners and the league separately if they want to see if they can come to some deal. but at least it's something, and it got us to do something. Now, to the Clay Matthews situation, Clay basically said Rodgers should not have ever been put on the IR because the man's throwing the ball very well in practice, throwing it well on the field before a game, looking accurate and having all of what you want a quarterback to look at, not to mention one of the best quarterbacks, if not. So, was he out of line saying that? That's debatable because, like Damian Woody said, a former player, you don't usually want to bring up players' injuries, but he wasn't really bringing up the injury itself. He was kind of just bringing up how the team dealt with it. But then, in terms of being a player, that all that'll do is really anger fans with how they dealt with it. But it's not a bad point. He is right in a sense. If Rodgers is able to go quicker than, I believe it's the middle of December, he's able to come back and play that week. If he's able to go quicker than that, then you have hurt your team by having to keep in. Nothing against Brett Hundley, but nobody's as good as Aaron Rodgers in today's day and age, in today's game. And it does hurt your team, so he is right in a sense, but just a matter of whether you should publicly say that or not, because all that could do is get fans annoyed about how your team dealt with it. But I don't think he was wrong coming out and saying it. He was just expressing his opinion, and we'll see how Brett Hundley's able to hold the fort against a pretty weak schedule in their next few games. And then by the time Rodgers comes back, the schedule is going to be strong, so he'll be coming back at exactly the right time. And the flip side is you didn't want to rush him back. If he wasn't on IR, you meant to rush him back. And Tony Romo in 2015 got injured, had a broken collarbone, came back, got a broken collarbone again because maybe he came back too quick. So you definitely don't want that to happen to Rodgers, and that would just look even worse than rather having him on IR. But I can see where he's coming from. If the guy's able to come back, he is the man, and he should come back as soon as possible, but that can't be done on IR. But we'll see what happens, and as long as the Packers can stay relevant, they're going to be dangerous down the stretch once Aaron Rodgers can come back. This has been a video on the protest, the overall news. I'm Joe Boric. This is Sports Fanatic News. Have a great day, everyone. Pretty soon, before the football game, I'll do a look ahead to the Redskins at Dallas. Stay tuned. Have a great one. Peace.